Most people think that having a will is enough to protect their family and their assets after they're gone. But here's the truth. A will alone won't keep your loved ones out of probate, protect your privacy, or ensure that your wishes are followed without delays and extra costs. In this video, I'm going to break down the key differences between a will and a trust, why relying solely on a will can be a huge mistake, and how a trust can give your family peace of mind. Hi, I'm estate planning attorney Mike Smith with Smith Barid LLC, and I'm one half of the estate planning guys. We help families protect their assets, avoid probate, and create estate plans that actually work when they're needed. The big problem with just having a will. So what I'm about to tell you might surprise you because most people don't realize what actually happens when you only have a will. Now, a will is better than nothing, but here's what most people don't realize. Number one, it doesn't avoid probate. If you have a will, your estate still has to go through the court system, which can take months or even years and cost thousands in legal fees. Second, it becomes public record. Anyone can see what you owned, who gets what, and even challenge it if they want to. Third, it only takes effect after you die. If you become incapacitated, a will doesn't manage your finances or make any decisions for you. It only takes effect after you die. Here's where everything changes, because a trust gives you protection that a will simply can't provide. So let's talk about what a trust can do that a will can't. A revocable living trust gives you control and flexibility while avoiding the headaches that come with just having a will. So here's why it's a better option. First, it avoids probate. Your assets go directly to your beneficiaries without any court involvement. Second, it keeps your affairs private. A trust is not of public record, unlike a will. It's not filed at the courthouse. Third, it protects you if you're incapacitated. A trust allows someone that you choose to manage your assets if you can't. Next, it gives you more control over distributions. You can set rules for when and how your heirs receive their inheritance, like limiting access until after a certain age. And fifth, it reduces the risk of disputes. Because a trust is harder to challenge than a will, it reduces family conflicts. With a will, there's a probate process always at the end, and it creates an opportunity for anyone who has a beef to step forward and pretty simply object to the probate. A trust is much more difficult to challenge in court. So let's talk about some common myths about trusts, why they're wrong. This is what nobody understands. Trusts aren't just for the rich, they're for anyone who wants to protect their family. So some people avoid trusts because they think, well, trusts are only for the wealthy and I'm not a Rockefeller. But that's false. A trust is for anyone who owns a home, has kids, or wants to make life easier for their loved ones. The second thing that people say is, well, trusts are expensive and complicated. Not really. The cost of setting up a trust is far less than the legal fees of probate. And once it's done, it makes everything much simpler for your family. The next thing I hear people say is, a will is all I need. As we've covered already, a will alone doesn't avoid probate, protect your privacy, or help during incapacity. For some people, a will really is all they need. But for most of us, a trust is a much better solution than a will. If you're learning something new today, then go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel for more estate planning tips. We post up about 1 or 2 videos a week. Now, the fourth thing I want to talk about with you is the cost of probate versus the cost of a trust. So let's break this down, because a lot of people avoid trust because of the cost, but they don't realize the cost of not having one. So probate costs consists of legal fees, court fees, executor fees, and then delays that can cost thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes more than 5% of the estate's value. Time delays. Probate can take 6 months to 2 years. I'm aware of a case locally that took 7 years to resolve, while assets in a trust are transferred almost immediately. Now, the other thing about trusts, people say, well, they're expensive, but it's a one-time cost that's typically less than the probate fees. If you think about the cost of creating a will and the probate, the cost of the trust is typically less, and it prevents all the hassle for your family. So when you look at the numbers, setting up a trust is one of the smartest financial decisions you can make for your family. It does cost more to set up, but in the end, it saves a lot of money. So let's talk about how to get started with a trust. I guarantee the next few minutes will be of extreme value, so listen up, because getting this right means your family avoids unnecessary stress and costs. So how do you set up a trust? Well, here are the basic steps. The first thing is to choose a trustee. This is the person who will manage the trust if something happens to you. They're your backup plan. So if you become incapacitated, like if you develop Alzheimer's or you have a stroke and you can't manage your own affairs anymore, this backup person will take over the trust and take care of managing everything for you. And then after you pass away, that backup person, the trustee, will be able to take over the trust and distribute the assets out of the trust pursuant to the instructions you've left them without having to go through court at all. The second step is to decide which assets to place in the trust. You're going to want to put your home, your bank accounts, your investments, almost everything you own. There are certain assets that don't go in a trust, and I've covered that in some other videos. So go to our channel and you can find a video on what not to put in your trust. The third thing is you got to create the trust document. The trust document outlines the rules for how the trust will be operated, who the beneficiaries are, who the trustees are going to be, etc. And generally, you're going to want to use a lawyer to do that. You know, you can watch a YouTube video and wire up your house, but the problem is you don't know what you don't know. And if you miss something, you can burn your house down. So it's the same thing with trusts. I think it's best to hire somebody that knows what they're doing and has been trained how to create trust for clients. The fourth thing you have to do is fund the trust. This is super important. This is where you put the assets into the trust. So you retitle assets in the name of the trust to make it legally effective. So that would be like signing a deed to transfer your home into the trust, or going down to the bank and asking them to transfer the bank account into the trust. If you do this now, setting up a trust, you can save your loved ones from future headaches, stress, and financial loss, and ultimately you can save a lot of money. So let's go over what we've covered today. First thing is, a will alone won't avoid probate. It won't protect your privacy or help you if you're incapacitated. A trust does all of that, and it gives you more control over your assets. Trusts are not just for the wealthy. They're for anyone who wants to protect their family. And then last, the cost of probate can be far more expensive than setting up a trust. If you're serious about estate planning and you want to know how to avoid the biggest mistakes that people made, check out our video on estate planning mistakes. I'm Mike Smith with the Estate Planning Guys.